Today, we are taking a deep dive into a revolution that is shaping not just our food supply, but really the future of our planet. Agentic artificial intelligence in agriculture.
Hmm.
This is the core of what people are calling agriculture 4.0
Hmm.
or or precision agriculture.
And that's a crucial distinction to make right away. We're, well beyond simple recommendation apps on a smartphone.
Right.
When we talk about agentic AI, we are talking about truly autonomous technology systems that move past offering suggestions and actively make real-time decisions.
So they're actually doing things.
They're doing things. They manage complex dynamic operations like soil analysis, pest control, irrigation, all without constant human intervention. They are essentially thinking, acting machines out in the field.
And their power comes from integrating everything, right?
Hmm.
They don't just process data. They take data from drones, sensors, weather stations, the whole Internet of Things,
Yeah.
and then they act on it.
Precisely. It's a closed loop. It makes continuous, seamless data exchange possible, enabling these really accurate, timely interventions that are tailored to, say, one specific square meter of a field.
Incredible.
So our mission in this deep dive is to uncover the verifiable, measurable impacts these systems are already having. But we also have to scrutinize the critical
I was
challenges.
going to say.
Yeah, especially around trust, fairness, and data ownership. Those absolutely accompany this revolution.
So for you, the learner, this is your shortcut to understanding how these hyper-intelligent systems are addressing a global imperative.
Hmm.
The pressure for, well, significantly higher productivity combined with radical sustainability.
It's all about resource optimization.
Exactly. Let's start right on the ground.
Okay.
All right, let's unpack the sheer breadth of application here. We've gathered some incredible case studies showing autonomous systems literally doing the heavy lifting across the farming ecosystem. We can start in the dirt with robotics.
Yeah, the field robotics revolution is it's transforming farm labor. A great example is Bonnarob.
Bonnarob.
Okay. This is an advanced autonomous robot designed specifically for weeding. It uses, sophisticated computer vision and machine learning to tell the difference between a valuable crop and a weed.
And it does that with a high degree of accuracy.
Incredible accuracy. But what's really interesting is what it does next. It doesn't use chemicals.
So what's its action?
It uses a mechanical tool, basically a tiny automated jackhammer, to just uproot and destroy the weed.
Wow.
This high-precision removal is a monumental leap. It significantly minimizes the need for chemical herbicides and, of course, reduces the need for expensive human labor.
That sounds like a dream scenario for large-scale farming, but I have to ask,
Yeah.
is the real problem the cost? Or is it that farmers fundamentally distrust letting a robot make a non-reversible decision on their most valuable asset?
That's a fantastic question, and the sources highlight both. The initial investment is steep, no doubt.
Yeah.
But beyond the money, there is undeniable cultural resistance. You have farmers accustomed to generations of conventional practices. Getting them to trust a machine to do something as critical as weeding, it's a steep climb.
So how do you get past that?
The strategy is critical. Developers have to provide comprehensive training, robust data security, and just ongoing support to demonstrate the return on investment and, ease that skepticism.
So we've covered the earth, but the revolution isn't just happening down here in the dirt. What does this look like from, say, thousands of feet up?
Now we move to the aerial view. This is where you have AI-powered drones and satellites systematically scanning massive fields.
Like in the AgriVetch case study.
Exactly, AgriVetch. They use these platforms to capture essential data. Moisture levels, plant health, nutrient deficiencies. They can get a level of granular detail that a farmer walking a field could never possibly match.
And is this high-altitude monitoring leading to, measurable changes on the farm?
Absolutely, and the results are quantifiable. A pilot program using their system reported a verified 20% reduction in water usage.
20%.
Just based on the accuracy of the AI's irrigation recommendations. And similarly, Smart Farm Agritech, which focuses on rice and palm oil,
Water-intensive crops.
They showed they could cut water consumption by as much as 25% through optimized distribution of both water and fertilizer.
The narrative is always about maximum output, but I'm fascinated by the blend of tech and traditional methods. What about the organic orchard case study? That sounds like AI supporting age-old wisdom.
It's a great case study in complementarity. This organic orchard introduced AI not to replace their practices, but purely for decision support. specifically early disease detection.
And that's huge in an organic setting.
It's everything. The AI sensors can flag the earliest signs of disease, often invisible to the human eye, maybe days or weeks before an agronomist might notice.
Which allows them to use minimal, targeted, non-chemical treatments.
Exactly. It enhances sustainability by protecting the yield without a reliance on chemical pesticides, proving AI isn't just a tool for industrial farming. It can be a powerful augmentation for inherited knowledge.
And the reach of agentic AI extends far beyond just crops, right? It affects everything after the harvest, too.
We're seeing impact across the entire value chain. Look at OneScup AI in livestock management.
Right.
They use smart collars and sensors to monitor animal indicators, temperature, activity, feeding patterns. The system processes this data in real time.
I can imagine that prevents outbreaks and saves a ton of money.
It does. Early detection translates directly to reduced mortality rates and significantly lower veterinary costs. It establishes a clear economic viability for the tech.
And then moving past the farm gate and into the global logistical challenge, that's where so much of the waste happens, isn't it?
Yes. Food waste is an enormous drain, often caused by mismatching supply with volatile demand. AgriChain AI uses predictive analytics to forecast market demand and then optimizes inventory and delivery routes.
What kind of metrics are we seeing from that? Because waste reduction has a huge impact on profitability and, the environmental footprint.
It's massive. Pilot programs with this platform reported up to a 40% decrease in food waste and spoilage.
40%.
By aligning supply precisely with what the market needs, they build a much more resilient system.
That 40% reduction is a staggering number and a perfect segue to our deep dive into the single biggest resource crisis in agriculture: water.
It is the defining challenge. Sources confirm that approximately 70% of worldwide water use is for agriculture. And traditional methods, they can lose up to 50% of the water they use.
50%. Just lost to runoff and evaporation.
Exactly. It's completely unsustainable.
So, if that's the problem, the specific study we looked at, focusing on irrigation in arid environments, becomes critically important. Let's focus on the work done in Turkmenistan's Labap region.
This region is an extreme testing environment. It's semi-desert with these scorching dry summers where temperatures hit 40 degrees Celsius.
And almost no rain.
Minimal. Just 100 to 150 millimeters a year. Irrigation isn't just helpful, it's the only way to farm.
And the soil structure makes it even worse.
Right.
It can't hold moisture.
Exactly. The soil is light sandy and loamy, so it loses moisture rapidly. Under conventional drip irrigation systems, the typical annual water requirement is about 6,000 cubic meters per hectare.
6,000. Okay, so that's our baseline.
That's the baseline that needed urgent optimization.
So how did the AI model tackle this? I imagine the technical demands were huge.
They were. The model relied on advanced machine learning, specifically regression and deep neural networks. Think of them as digital futurists algorithms that find patterns to predict the optimal amount of water needed at a specific time.
And it's not just based on a schedule, but on real-time conditions.
That's the key. The model was trained on a massive historical dataset for crops like wheat and cotton, but its power was in feature selection. It identified the most critical real-time predictors.
Like what? What was it looking at?
Climate variables like solar radiation, precipitation, air temperature, but also granular soil features, particularly the current moisture content.
That continuous real-time feedback loop is what makes it agentic then. It allows it to act, not just recommend.
It creates a closed system of unparalleled precision, and based on its deep analysis, the algorithm estimated that the optimal water volume wasn't 6,000 cubic meters, but 5,100.
Hold on. 6,000 down to 5,100. That's a 900 cubic meter reduction per hectare.
It translates directly to a 15% reduction in water usage.
15%.
But here's the critical part, the ultimate measure of success. That 15% water reduction did not hurt output.
Get out of here.
In fact, yields were maintained or even slightly increased, going from a standard of 3,500 kilograms per hectare up to 3,500, maybe 3,600.
So the AI achieved massive efficiency gains, a 15% water saving, without sacrificing productivity, just by being smarter with the delivery.
Precisely. The system maintained the soil moisture level in the ideal range of 20 to 25%. It avoids overwatering and underwatering. By reducing that stress on the plants, they thrive, leading to stable or even higher yields with less input. That is the verifiable success of this technology.
So we've seen the miracle of the technology, the 15% solution, the 40% waste reduction. The technical potential is overwhelming, but this power comes with a price. Now we have to look at the governance gaps and ethical hurdles that threaten to block widespread adoption.
Yeah, the initial roadblocks are straightforward. Cost and education. The upfront costs for these sophisticated drone and sensor networks are substantial.
Prohibitive for a lot of smaller farms, I'd imagine.
For smaller farms, for developing regions, absolutely.
Mm.
And then there's the technical skill gap. Farmers need the digital literacy to operate and understand these systems.
You mentioned the myth earlier, the idea that AI will replace the agronomist. How do developers overcome that fear?
It's a matter of repositioning the technology. The studies clearly show AI should augment human capacity, not replace it.
Right.
The AI can handle routine data monitoring, allowing the human expert to collaborate with more farms, focusing their time on complex problem solving. The human remains the critical decision maker.
Okay, but even when farmers get the economics, the question of trust is still central. Let's look at the 4 core pillars of this trust divide, starting with transparency.
Transparency and explainability, what experts call XAI, are paramount. Many of the most powerful AI models, especially deep neural networks, are opaque. They create what's known as a black box.
The algorithm makes a decision, but no human can easily trace why it made that decision.
Exactly. And that's a problem for
Well,
a
see-
farmer. If an AI assessment of, say, greenhouse gas emissions on their farm seems inaccurate, the farmer has to be able to understand the rationale to contest it,
Otherwise, they're just operating on blind faith.
which rapidly erodes trust.
Okay, the next pillar seems even more complicated. Accountability. Who gets the bill when the autonomous decision goes wrong?
This is what academics call the moral proxy problem, or the problem of many hands.
Many.
An AI system isn't built by one company. It's an integration of outsourced components. When an autonomous decision causes financial harm, say the wrong pesticide is deployed, it becomes virtually impossible to trace liability back to a single source.
That liability issue is a huge roadblock. Okay, moving to the third pillar. Fairness and bias.
Bias is encoded in the data. The problem is harmful bias. Right now, these tools are predominantly designed for and trained on data from large-scale systems focusing on high-revenue commodity crops. Corn, soy, wheat.
So if you're a small-scale farm or focused on specialty crops, the AI tool might be ineffective, or worse, give you actively harmful recommendations.
That is the fear. Let's use the apple example from the sources. Imagine a robot trained only on data from red apples. If you put it in an orchard with a ripe green variety, it would classify those perfectly good apples as unripe.
That's a clear, harmful bias that locks out a huge portion of the community.
It does.
And finally, perhaps the biggest source of mistrust, data ownership and privacy.
This is the core power imbalance. When a farmer adopts smart equipment, the agritech providers, or ATPs, often require them to sign complex end-user license agreements, EULAs.
The things nobody ever reads.
Right. And these EULAs typically retain significant rights to the farm data collected by the equipment.
So the farmer owns the land, but not the information generated by the land.
Exactly. And this creates tremendous concern. Farmers fear their sensitive data, soil health, yields, cultivation practices could be used against them in insurance claims, or worse, sold to third parties.
And you said most people don't read these.
The research is shocking. It shows 74% of farmers are unaware of the terms they've signed. This lack of transparency results in a profound loss of control and trust. It massively weakens the foundation of trust.
So what's the strategy to fix this massive governance gap?
It has to be a multi-pronged solution. On the farmer side, there's an urgent need for more digital literacy and, crucially, seeking legal advice before signing those EULAs.
And what about the tech companies?
They need to adopt privacy by design, making data protection integral from the start. And they need to use clear, simple language in contracts about data collection, sharing, and retention.
That transparency is key.
It is. While voluntary codes exist, they often lack legal enforcement. We need both soft compliance and hard laws to govern this space responsibly.
So what does this all mean for the bigger picture? We've seen verifiable success. 15% water reduction in arid regions while maintaining yield, and a 40% waste reduction in supply chains. The technical potential is massive.
The success and widespread adoption of these high-impact technologies hinge entirely on solving the governance problems: trust, transparency, accountability, and fairness. If these benefits aren't shared equitably, adoption will slow. The pace of innovation is outpacing policy, and that gap is our biggest risk.
The water management study showed the clear benefit of training AI models on specific farm data to get those hyper-accurate insights. But that localization is what makes the data so valuable and so vulnerable.
It creates a tremendous tension.
So, considering all these challenges around data ownership, how can farmers and technology providers collaboratively create secure, localized data cooperatives that let farmers maximize AI's benefits without sacrificing control. That seems to be the critical question for a resilient agricultural future. If the data is the fuel, who should own the pump?